Hello, welcome back to my channel. First of all, kia ora from New Zealand. That was a really bad Kiwi accent, sorry. I am in New Zealand. We have arrived. This is not our flat, this is our friend's flat. We're staying in their flat, same flat again. Because we're still getting set up here and sorting things out, there is no New Zealand content just yet, but it will be coming. So today I thought we would throw it back a little bit and talk about some travel advice for India. So I'm going to cast my mind back to October 2022. Last year, it was only a couple of months ago to be fair. But I went travelling through India for 3 weeks with my friend from home and my boyfriend. We just had the most incredible time. I've got to say, India has to be my favourite country we've visited for sure. Every time someone asked me, I jumped straight to India. It was just amazing, incredible, so different to everything else. I could talk all day about that. But India is definitely the country I get asked the most about. Like, lots of people are very intrigued and interested that we've been to India and what was our experience like. And there are always questions. So I thought, why not film a video? Then I don't have to answer them, I just go subscribe. And then if you have any other questions, please do put them in the comments below and I'll answer them in another video, or I'll just pop an answer in the comments there. Don't forget to please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, and click the like button on this video wherever it is. I always get so confused. It really makes my day and shares the videos far and wide. Without further ado, here are my 10 top pieces of travel advice for India. Number 1. Now, please understand, I say this with sadness. I don't want to say it, but I think it is the responsible thing to do. My advice, from me personally, is don't travel India as a single female. By single, I mean solo, sorry. Don't travel on your own. You can be single. I really don't like saying that. I don't like, obviously, the fact that I would have to warn women away from doing something on their own, which, like, really we should be able to do. But I wouldn't be doing the responsible thing if I told you it was fine and recommended you go on your own. So as I said, I went with my friend and my boyfriend. I think traveling with just my friend, who was female, Michaela, as long as you're sensible, like, you wouldn't get hurt, you wouldn't get, like, kidnapped or anything. Like, there was never any fear of, like, our safety, but I just don't know how much you'd be able to enjoy yourself, because if you look different to the general population of India, 99% of the men stare at you everywhere you go, and when you're in a group, that can feel slightly annoying, a bit intimidating, sometimes grosses you out a little bit. If I was on my own, I think I might feel threatened, I might feel unsafe, I might feel uncomfortable, just because I don't have that backup around me. I'm sure Michaela won't mind me saying about this, but there was one incident where we were at a train station at about 11 at night, 11 p.m, and this guy was sat, he was a bit drunk, which is rare in India because there's not a lot of alcohol around, but this guy was a bit drunk and he sat down near Michaela and was just like staring at her, and we clocked that like instantly. It was like weird, but also so normal, everyone just does that. But he was just sat there a metre away, like staring at her, and then he just started touching himself while staring at her. So needless to say, we promptly moved down the other end of the platform. But had Michaela been on her own for that, I think it would have felt like a very different experience. I think it's a lot more threatening when you're on your own. I think you feel a lot more unsafe, you haven't got safety in numbers, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, for those reasons, I would suggest don't go as a solo female. I don't think you'd be able to enjoy yourself very well. Number 2. Take this one with a pinch of salt. Be ready for all the bad bits, and then you'll be able to enjoy the good bits more. This sounds like I'm giving India a really bad name. That's completely not the case. As I said at the beginning of the video, and you have to remember this throughout this video, India is the most amazing, incredible place, and you must go. If you're thinking about it, you've got to do it. But if you're from a Western European culture, you are really stepping into a whole new world going to India. It is very different, it is very intense. There are lots and lots of things that can go wrong. There are lots of culture differences which can make you feel slightly uncomfortable. There are lots of horror stories from other people who have been to India. They're all over the shop, and I urge you, listen to them, take them seriously, but still go. So anyway, go feeling prepared for any negative situations that may arise, and then hopefully you'll be like us, you won't actually experience anything negative because you took all the steps to avoid them, and you'll just have a brilliant time. Number 3, seeing as I told you to be prepared for all of the bad bits, I thought I'd give you a quick list of some of the what the bad bits are, what I mean by that. I'm just going to read them off a list that I literally just jotted down a couple of minutes ago. Brace yourself. Saying no all the time, literally about 100 times a day to people, and I mean no, and then they still don't leave you alone. Constant harassment from sellers, from people in the street, from just everyone around you. Selfies, men staring at you, smelly toilets, scams, no personal space, poor treatment of animals, extreme poverty, and lots of beggars, including children. It's not an easy place to be. Number 4, there are hardly any non-Indian tourists. Even when we went to see the Taj Mahal, like, I don't remember seeing other non-Indian tourists. Like, there were probably a couple. There's lots of Indian tourism, but yeah, there's not really any other non-Indian tourists. So backing up the point about solo female travel, it's not like solo female travel around Thailand, where you probably won't end up doing a lot of actual solo travel because you meet so many people along the way doing the same things. It really will be you on your own going around India. Just be aware when you're going, you may well not see another tourist for a long time. Number 5. I actually hate going through this because everything I'm saying sounds so negative, but believe me, it's incredible. But number 5 is trust nobody. Oh, that feels so horrible to say, and obviously I mean it with, like, take it with a pinch of salt. I don't mean that quite literally, but just be really aware that there are loads of scams going on. We heard this one story where these local boys will see a girl and talk to them and then say, oh, I'm going to a wedding, Indian wedding, do you want to come? Like, you can come along. And obviously so many people would take someone up on that offer, because who doesn't want to go to an Indian wedding? They look incredible. And then they go, oh, we need to get you something nice to wear. I know a place we can go. They take you to the tailors that they're secretly working for to get a dress made, and then you obviously pay for the dress. And then they're like, okay, meet me tomorrow at this time and I'll take you to the wedding. And then they obviously just never turn up because all they're really doing is working for the tailors, trying to get you to buy stuff from the tailors. Clever, but don't fall for it. Number 6, very simple one, take hand sanitizer. It's not the most hygienic country that we've been to, possibly the least hygienic. Take some hand san, because if you get caught short, you need a toilet, there's not often a lot of soap or anything like that, and it just keeps you nice and clean and hygienic. Oh, and a little tip which I hadn't written down, take some probiotics before you go to help your gut health, so that hopefully you avoid Delhi belly. Number 7, in cities you cannot walk anywhere generally, certainly the cities we went to in the north. In the city centres where it's busy, you can't just like walk from one location to the next. Particularly Delhi and Jaipur, you have to get tuk-tuk. The traffic is mental. Even when you are walking like just 2 minutes down the road, you feel like you're going to get run over at any point because there are no rules of the road. And plus, when you're walking, you're constantly being approached by people trying to sell you stuff. So just be aware, in a lot of places you need to get a taxi or a tuk-tuk and not walk. Number 8. Book your trains, all of your trains, with 12 Go. Trains are really easy to navigate in India. We actually thought it was going to be a lot harder than it ended up being for us. We'd heard stories of trains being like really out of time, like people had to wait like a whole like 5 hours later their train turned up or whatever. But we actually didn't have that experience at all. All of our trains were pretty much bang on time. You do need to book ahead, especially if you want a carriage that isn't going to be literally chock-a-block with people sitting on your lap. But yeah, we booked all of our trains ahead of time, at least 3 days ahead, I would say is the sort of minimum to make sure you get the carriage that you want and the time, the train time and things that you want. Book about 3 days ahead on 12 Go, really easy. And yeah, number 9. Why do I always have such a problem with number 9? Number 9, if it is your first time visiting India, I would recommend going for a shorter amount of time than you would possibly spend in other countries. So we went for 3 weeks, and I think by the end of the 3rd week we were very ready for a change of scene. Obviously all of this is completely down to personal preference, but I think because it's such an intense experience, like there's a lot going on all the time, people describe it as like all your senses are like overloaded, it can be quite tiring. Your experience may be very different to mine. I think 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks is probably the sweet spot for your first visit, and then you can decide if you want to go back and how long you would spend. Not to say that it isn't possible, lots of people do that and absolutely love it. I think it also really depends on where in the country you actually go. Which brings me on to my next point, which is number 10. If you're going for like 2 weeks or more, mix up your time between cities and countryside. I think the vibe, as in any country, in the city is very different to in the countryside, and so I'd really recommend splitting up your time and maybe in the middle of it and spending some time in the countryside as well, or even just doing sort of the golden triangle, which is Delhi, Jaipur and Agra first, and then going out into the countryside, especially if it's your first time going up to the Himalayas, something like that. I lied, I'm not giving you 10 tips, I'm giving you 11. My 11th and final piece of advice is go. If you have ever thought about going to India, please go. It is incredible. You will have an incredible time. I had the most amazing time. I really want to go back. As much as there are lots of negatives, they just don't outweigh the positives in any way, shape or form. Go, book your tickets now. Okay, there you go. That is my travel advice, my first video on travel advice for India. I do think there is so much more I could talk about with India, so if there are any more specific questions, please put them in the comments. It is one of the most incredible places on earth. Thank you so much for watching. If you have already subscribed, thank you. I love you. If you are yet to do so, please click on the subscribe button down there. My battery is about to die, so I'm gonna go. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Goodbye.